All right. Good morning and welcome to this month's Mornings on the Porch. We have a few people coming in, but right now I'll just give a little housekeeping and introduction to our time together. My name is Savannah Lawrence. I'm the Administrative Director for Yosemite Sierra Summer Camp, and we are going to be talking about some great things today. But before we get to that, I just want to let you know that this is a recorded webinar. So you can access this later, send it to friends. Just make sure you share it out because we'll be going over some great content. And also, this is a Q&A webinar. So if you have any questions that you would like directors to answer, feel free to put them in the Q&A chat below. We will get to those towards the end. And without further ado, we're going to go ahead and introduce our two directors. We have Sara Kuljis, our Executive Director, as well as Jessica Peterson, our Associate Director. So I will be passing it over to them.
Hey, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us this morning for Mornings on the Porch. We haven't gathered in this way since May because then we're at camp all summer, actually really doing Mornings on the Porch with our staff. And so it's so fun to be back with parents for a Morning on the Porch.
Yeah.
We call these monthly parent Zooms Morning on the Porch because up at camp, we have this beautiful porch that's just outside our dining hall. And often early in the morning or, perhaps a little later in the day, that's where we gather with staff. To pray for the day, to think about our campers' needs, to plan, and for supervisors to equip our staff with what they need to do the day with intention and with fun, and so that we can all collaborate and partner together for campers to have their best experience. And so we named this parent Zoom program Mornings on the Porch because here we get together with parents and be thoughtful about our kids' needs and not only what we do at camp, but what can we do at home too. So we are partnering to help raise fabulous kids together. So thank you for the privilege of getting to share even more about camp with you. And if you're new to us, that's awesome. We do meet every month in this way, and you can also go back and listen to the last 2 seasons, I guess, of Mornings on the Porch. Yeah.
Yeah, it feels good to be back this morning, settling back in after a camp season. I realized it's been quite a few months since I've been on Mornings on the Porch because I was out last
Oh my
spring.
goodness, yes.
So for anyone who has been joining us since last spring, I might even be a new face to you. I'm Jessica, the Associate Director. As Savannah introduced me, and I was out last spring having our first child. So it feels good to be back with you all this morning. It also feels really good to be talking about what we're talking about. We love talking about confidence. Building confidence in kids. It's perhaps one of the hallmark things that we do at camp. It's one of the things that certainly parents talk to us most and what they notice in their child. So today we are talking about building confidence in kids. And I think every parent longs to help build that deep sense of confidence in their kids. We long for our kids to step out into the world, to feel confident in who they are, to look people in the eye when they're meeting someone, to have a strong internal sense of who they are, and not just who they are, but the value, the worth that they bring to the world around them. So we long for our kids to develop this deep sense of confidence. It's one of the foundations of building a healthy self-esteem, which we know contributes to so much in life. And so it feels like this really important big thing that we can do in and for our kids. And yet, it often can feel more tricky, more elusive than we want it to. It can kind of be this abstract thing. Where do we start? How do we start building confidence in our kids? Is it too late? Oh man, my child's struggling with confidence. How do I start? What do I say? There's so much research around building confidence in kids, and fortunately, it's something that we love to talk about at YSSC, and have it invested a lot in what it means to build an environment that's fun and supportive and helps kids build confidence. So research is really clear that confidence is actually not built based on receiving a lot of affirmation. If you do something well, it always feels nice to receive a compliment or an affirmation, a little pat on the back, right? But that's actually not what builds that deep sense of confidence. What builds that foundational sense of confidence in a child is actually mastery. It's the opportunity to try something new, often to need to try and try again, right? Because you don't usually get something right the very first time. But the ability to look at something and say, I can do that. That's that sense of confidence that we're talking about. And it's built through mastery. When I think about confidence, I can't help but think of this mom that told me this story after summer, this last summer, just a few weeks ago. She was reflecting on her son coming home from camp, and she shared, man, that her son came home so proud of himself. He got to try things for the very first time, and one of those specific activities was marksmanship. He had never done marksmanship before, and he was a little nervous to try something new, but he tried marksmanship, and he discovered that he liked it. And not only that he liked it, but as he went back to the range and tried and honed his skill and was coached by our staff, he actually discovered that he could be quite good at marksmanship. And the sweetest part about the whole thing is that he was so proud of himself, the way that he grew and developed his skills in archery, that mastery component that we're talking about, that he took his targets home. He packed them up in his luggage. Of all the things that don't make it home, because this is an 11-year-old child that we're talking about, things get left at camp all the time. But these targets were preserved. They were brought home. They were showed off to mom and dad. And then he hung them up on his wall so that he could look at them every day back at home. That is the picture of confidence. And so this morning, we're going to talk about 3 tools, 3 ways that we get to build confidence in kids at YSSC, and perhaps even some ways that you can do that at home as well.
Awesome. Thank you. I love that story. Can you picture him waking up and seeing his targets on the wall and thinking, I can do that?
It's so good.
It's so good. Well, the first tool we want to mention is, frankly, one of the biggest gifts of camp, and that is the gift of dabbling. Now, when we talk about dabbling, what we mean is getting to try a new activity or several new activities for the first time for fun. Mm-hmm. Just because we're curious, just because we love learning, just because we have the opportunity, but without the pressure to be excellent and to be expert right off the bat. In previous decades, years ago, dabbling was much more common for children when they had more free play and had a little more agency over things, maybe a little less safety worried and a little more, maybe a little less supervised in the way that adults really, really, kind of regulate kids' activities now. In the last 15 or 20 years, that's really been a shift, and organized activities are often what kids do after school and on Saturdays, and those have great value. But that personal exploration of kids just going, it's like to try that or climb that or pull that or throw that, right? Making up their own games. And so dabbling has kind of trickled away. And now very often children feel pressured to be expert at very, very young ages. We're determining the the sport they're going to play in high school while they're in kindergarten. And again, there are benefits to some of that, but it can also squash that growth mindset and that curiosity and joy and learning for learning's sake. That additionally squashes confidence to step out of your comfort zone and try something for fun that you don't have to be excellent at off the bat. So the gift of dabbling, it's just one of my favorite things about camp. And YSSC has dozens of activities with engaging, groovy, cool college age leaders where kids can try something new. Not only does it help us step out of our comfort zone, but we then can build that muscle that helps us transfer that courage, that confidence to other spaces. I remember a few years back, a camper, his name was Alex, and he came to me in the morning before morning activity. And my camp nickname, all the campers call me Salsa. And he said, Salsa, our cabin has crafts today. And like, I don't do crafts. I'm kind of more of an athlete. He was 12 years old, almost 13, pretty strong kid, very gifted athlete, athletically. So like in my family, we don't do art. He had all brothers, fabulous child. And so can I like skip crafts and do another activity? And I said, Alex, I'm so excited for your cabin to have crafts. And I'm going to encourage you. You're going to go with your cabin to crafts. And if you don't feel motivated to do crafts for your own enjoyment, why don't you think of making something to take home to give to your mom? Think of it as a gift. Maybe that motivation can light you up a little bit. So Alex kind of headed off to crafts a little begrudgingly, but again, with that very cool craft specialist guiding the cabin in their creativity process. He first loved breaking tiles into small pieces with a hammer. And from there, he poured himself into creating a tile mosaic that was truly beautiful. He spent the entire 2 hour period barely coming up for air and barely finishing in time. And later in the day, he came and found me and he said, Salsa, you were right. Crafts was awesome. And I really like what I made and I kind of want to keep it. Will I be able to go back to crafts to make a second mosaic for my mom? That was a win. By having Alex try something he didn't know he could love, he got to develop that muscle that says, yeah, I'm actually going to give it a swing. What a gift to a camper. What a gift of camp. And, at home, we as parents can also make this a habit in our family. To think about once a month inviting our kids to try something they haven't tried. Hey, help me make lasagna tonight. Or, hey, do you want to learn this new card game? Or I'm going to try this new activity. So helpful to model trying new things as a parent. Do you want to come with me? And kind of growing that muscle of curiosity and love of learning that develops into confidence to step out of our comfort zone. And all the while, it's play. And when kids learn through play, they don't even know they're learning. Yeah, it's a delight.
So good. So first, the gift of dabbling. There's another gift I want to talk about. It's actually the gift of doing something apart from their parents. Now, independence is such a key contributor to building confidence. If confidence sounds like I can do this, the independent part of that is I can do this, right? Now there are developmentally appropriate things, skills that we want our kids to learn with us before they learn without us, right? So we want every 16-year-old to learn how to build confidence behind the driving wheel, behind the wheel of the car, with us before they learn that skill without us, right? But the opportunity when kids are developmentally ready for building confidence independently, that independence just really fans the flame of that opportunity to build confidence, that ability to say, I can do this, right? And truthfully, often our kids tend to be more capable and ready for small steps of independence than we even believe that they are, if we're being honest. Things from dressing themselves to setting the table, to making new friends, learning how to ask questions to develop friendships. Or even, looking up verses in the Bible, reading aloud for their family. Kids thrive when they get to discover what they can do apart from their parents. And by giving them 2 weeks away from home, man, these kids get to discover just all of what they are capable of. And the key part of this building of independence is the support and scaffolding that camp, that YSSC gets to provide. So we are not, throwing these kids into the deep end of independence, right? 2 weeks, here you go. Good luck. Take care of yourself. No, we offer them so much support and scaffolding so that they can build those muscles with all the right, engagement. Actually, two moms in their quotes this summer totally caught on to that as our key ingredient. And so let me just read their quotes because I think they say it so well. One of them was talking about their 9-year-old daughter. She said, our daughter, absolutely loved YSSE, looks forward to returning next summer. This was such a rewarding opportunity for her to gain independence within a safe environment, right? So it's giving them independence, and yet, that building block of building that independence is done in an environment where they can trust and be supported in all the right ways. Another mom was talking about her son, her 12-year-old son, and she said, our son came home from camp telling us how appreciative he is for family, nature, friendship, God, and learning more about what's truly important in life. Which is so sweet at 12. She said camp was so special for him. And then she says, as parents, we feel so thankful to see our son grow in his independence while enjoying every minute of his meticulously planned daily camp adventures. And I just loved how she said that. Adventure you might think is not planned, but at camp, oh, we can plan adventure and spontaneity and whimsy. And so, he's growing in his independence in this meticulously planned, camp adventure where they receive all the right support, all the right nurturing environment, so that they feel, safe enough and supported enough to really challenge themselves to grow. And so, parents, there are, practical ways that you can work with your child to help, gain some of that prior to coming to camp. And I love, Sarah, you mentioned activities where you can do it together, because that togetherness, that partnership, that modeling that you get to offer your children when you do an activity or a new skill alongside them is, so helpful. They get to see an adult show them, how to do it, that it's safe to do it, that they can that they can trust themselves to step outside of their comfort zone. And then there are some skills that you might want to consider as you've done it alongside them, dabbled in something new perhaps, that you would scale back some of your support so that they can try doing something, on their own. And there's lots of different ways to do that. Maybe it's a skill that they have been doing with you. Maybe they've been learning how to cook lasagna. No, you're not going to set the stove, up for them on their own, but perhaps they prep a portion of the meal just on their own. Or perhaps they try doing it not with you, but with a friend, or they do that skill with a different family member. They do it alongside an older sibling. Just another opportunity for them to learn just what they can do outside of all of the helpful support and probably daily reminders that you offer them.
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, at camp, there is tons of supervision. But again, it's not from mom and dad, it's from that cool counselor that I admire. And so to be able to set kids up to feel independent from mom and dad is so fun. In fact, this last summer, second session, there was this little boy, and it was the end of session banquet. So everyone was showered up and shiny and fresh, dressy-ish clothes. And I just remarked to him that his hair was combed so well after his shower. It was like, you know, parted and slicked down. And he's like, oh, thank you so much. My mom made me practice washing and combing my hair before I came to camp. And I'm like, way to go.
Yeah.
You did it. Yeah.
It paid off.
It paid off. Good job, Mom. Hey, the third aspect of confidence building that we want to talk about today really reflects back to what Jessica mentioned, that confidence comes from mastery of skills rather than praise. And Yosemite Sierra Summer Camp is a 2-week-long program on purpose. When we think about developing character skills, relationships, and faith, which is our mission at YSSE, to really build and master skills, it takes time. And so our program is a little longer than many other faith-based programs. And we love that part because we can so individualize growth and learning. And so that opportunity to master a skill, which means encouraging campers to try again, and then try again, and to stay perseverant, and to manage those big feelings when they're disappointed with failure, and to brush themselves off, and to know that failure is part of learning. And so then we're going to try again, to go back to an activity at free period and do it again, and delight in improvement, and really help them understand that perseverance, determination is what it takes to be excellent at something. And I so appreciated this last summer. We had a cabin group of high school girls come back from their backpack program. We see this try again gift really shine with those activities that are more challenging. So as the girls came back, the backpack's challenging physically and psychologically. And that's why we do it with trusted cabin mates and an excellent backpack guide and our counselor. Not only did they make it to the lake and enjoy that beautiful High Sierra space, they also took on a peak during the middle day of their backpack, and they made it to the top of this peak with views that were amazing. They didn't know they could do it. And when they got back and put on a skit telling the whole camp that they made it to the top of the peak, wow, it was something.
Yeah.
And wow, they several of them ran up to me. You know, I didn't want to do it, Salsa, but we did it. Their confidence was palpable. And that gift of mastery just cannot be underestimated. Now, there still is a place for praise, though. And at camp, we really we train our staff in being really thoughtful about the kind of praise we give our campers as they learn and grow new skills. There is that, hey, that was great, awesome job. You made it to the top of the climbing wall. That's a wonderful compliment. But where we don't want to just settle in the values and the performance, we coach staff to consider what characteristics they exercised, what process they engaged in to find success. So for our staff to say, Jordan, your perseverance on the climbing wall today was amazing. I saw you hesitate partway through, and then you really dug in and you listened well to instructions and you made it to the top. I so admire your perseverance. Wow. That is a skill that's transferable. I can persevere in math. I can persevere in learning that song in choir. I can even persevere in my chores at home. And mastery of those kinds of skills are lifelong lasting. We can also do that at home. When we as parents don't get stuck in praise only comes with accomplishment, but praise come with seeing our kids' process of succeeding, we really give them a special gift. I was at a soccer game a few springs ago and was thrilled to hear a dad comment to his young daughter whose team just won the match. And he said, oh my goodness, he said, Marty, all that practice paid off, didn't it? And then he said, I love how your team worked together. By calling out the hard work and the teamwork, that dad gave his daughter such a gift. Again, absolutely transferable. So confidence comes from mastery, and we as parents can thoughtfully make those opportunities happen. And at camp, just know it's embedded in everything we do. When we can send a camper 8 years old all the way to 16 or 17 years old home 4 steps ahead in their confidence muscle, we've done our job, and I think God blesses that. We could talk all day about confidence. Can you tell? It's really one of our favorite things in the whole wide world, but this is a Q&A parent Zoom. And so I'm going to ask Savannah if she would hop back on and share any questions that have come through from our participants.
Awesome. Yes, I have a couple questions. First question is, do all campers at YSSC do all the activities?
Question.
No, not all campers do all of the activities at camp. There's a few different, reasons for that. There's a set of activities that definitely every kiddo is going to get to do. So, every kid gets off that bus and is like, where are the banana boats? I want to get on the banana boat. They're all going to get to go banana boating. But we actually have what we call a graded program, which means that some of the activities that our 16-year-olds do, our 8-year-olds are not quite ready to take on the same challenge. We want that 8-year-old to feel the same amount of growth and discovery and challenge as that 16-year-old does. So those are going to look a little different. So maybe, an example of that. So we have a little insider language that sometimes sneaks out, and I'll give you the insider rubric so you know what that means. So we have Unit 1, Unit 2, and Unit 3, which just basically means our youngest campers that are going into 3rd through going into 6th. We have Unit 2, which is kind of our middle-aged campers, and they're going into 7th grade or going into 8th grade. That's kind of our middle school years. And then we have our Unit 3, which is our high school campers, right? And so, a Unit 1 will get to go on Yosemite Day. And so we take them into the park, and they, along with their cabin and other, elementary age kids, they get to do day hikes in Yosemite and explore all of the incredible, majesty and creation in Yosemite. And they come back pooped and very accomplished from their day hikes, right? And then in middle school, in our Unit 2 campers, we offer this incredible camp out program where these campers get to step outside of their comfort zone, sleep, under the stars or under a covering if there's a little weather, and they get to practice those outdoor skills, learning how to camp. And they do a day hike in there. They sleep out 2 nights and they come back to camp, and they are so accomplished learning how to eat outside and filter water. They get to learn a little bit of map and compass. They get to grow in so many wonderful ways. And then Sara mentioned this earlier in her story for our high school campers, because they've mastered the day hike and they've mastered the camp out, they are ready for that backpacking adventure. And so they're going to go out, same kind of time frame, 2 nights, 3 days. They get to hike out. It's usually to a wonderful alpine lake. There's an option for a middle day hike, and they get to come back having that extra dose of challenge, being older and ready to take on that activity. So our elementary kids are not going to do the backpacking for all the age appropriate reasons we just talked about. So there's lots of activities that everybody gets to do, but there are some activities that are based on age appropriate challenge and skill.
Awesome. Thank you. We have one more question similar to what you were sharing. It's a great segue, actually. So, this parent's child can be cautious and anxious when trying something new. The question is, what if this camper doesn't want to try any new activity at camp?
I'll take that one. Well, first of all, I'll say they're normal. Lots of kids are reticent to try new things. Lots of us are reticent to try new things.
Sure.
So I would really normalize that for that camper. And we're not worried about that. Again, we train our staff to gently and assertively encourage kids. Hey, we're all going to try. Sometimes we call it challenge by choice, but let's say we've got a cabin group. Let's go back to that climbing wall example that I gave. And if I'm afraid of heights, if I've never worn a helmet and a climbing harness, if I'm nervous that others might watch me, I might not want to try. But I'm going to practice putting it all on. And my loving counselor and ropes leader is going to say, Jessica, I want you to set yourself a goal. How far do you want to go? And that child gets to practice some agency. We're going to encourage that kiddo to climb to that level on the wall, and they will be shocked at how much enthusiastic encouragement they're getting from their cabin group. We know you can do it, Jessica. When they get to that goal, we're going to celebrate that and invite them to go a little farther. Sometimes campers are like, I didn't know this was so fun. I can go, and they'll keep climbing up. Some will say, no, that's my space. Totally fine. They can come back down, and at the end of the activity period, there's typically time. Anybody want to go again? I don't know how many kids, it's countless, say, you know what, I am going to try again. And they may get all the way to the top and ring that bell. So we really will ask kids to try. We are going to be gently assertive with asking them to go a step or two farther. If they know that they can, but they're afraid, we will be as patient as anything. And we'll get them to that place. And then if they regret not trying harder, there is an opportunity to go back and do it again. So if your kiddo's anxious, have that conversation with him or her before summer. And say, hey, you know, you're going to be trying lots of new things. Sometimes I've noticed that you get a little anxious or worried about that. Would you tell your counselor that's how you feel? And will you know that they work with kids like this all the time? You're not different. And I can't wait to hear the places you've stepped into with a little more courage. I can't wait to celebrate that with you. We can do that. And we really, really are patient, and no shame comes with, I didn't do as well. That's fine. The goal was to try something new.
Yeah. And we often at camp, we talk a lot in our training, our staff, and also with our kids, kind of the difference between discomfort and danger, right? And that can be a really helpful tool in helping our campers just take that one extra step outside of their comfort zone. We're not asking miles outside to a place where they feel like I'm in danger. Not that. We just want that little dose of just beyond that comfort zone, that little stretchy period where they know they can, but it just feels like it's going to take a little bit of courage, you know, and then support them every step of the way. So that danger versus discomfort's a conversation that we have a lot with our campers and staff as well.
Yeah, good point. Thank you for sharing that. Well, again, while we could talk about confidence all day long, we are gonna go ahead and wrap up and respect your time this morning. Savannah, will you tell us about what we have to look forward to in this coming month?
Absolutely. Yes. Well, right off the bat, yesterday, October 1st, we launched our open enrollment. And right now, early bird is $250 of savings. So that won't last long. So we encourage you to sign up if you haven't already and share with your friends so they can earn some savings as well. And also, as we're looking into the next month, our next mornings on the porch will be on November 6th. And we'll be talking about how YSSC helps campers to learn to make friends and keep friends. One of the best things about camp. So we are so excited for you to join us. And remember that this is a recorded webinar. You will have access to look back and send to friends. So we encourage you to do that. And we can't wait to see you sign up. All right. Well, have a great rest of your day, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.